You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AFTERBUZZ TV for Archer. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Archer news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AFTERBUZZ TV for Archer.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Sorry, I was picturing Whore Island.
That's right. We're all picturing Whore Island.
I'm picturing Whore Island. I do this show about like 30, 45 minutes a week. The rest of my days are spent picturing Whore Island.
Right.
You can't put a price on good pussy.
I'm super glad that we have new sound bites.
Awesome.
This is good.
Awesome. So, welcome to the AFTERBUZZ TV special on Archer, Season 3, Episode 2, titled...
Forgive me, I flunked out of sophomore Spanish in high school. El Contadores? Whatever Spanish is for the accountant is what that is.
So,
I think we're pretty diverse.
What? You're black-ish?
what? You got angry when I said quadroon.
So yeah, we have a really good show tonight. During the special segment, we're going to be talking about the DVD of Season 2 that just came out. Now, we're in Season 3, obviously, and if you're as big a fan as we are of the show, then you've already seen every episode of Season 2, so you're saying to yourself, Greg, what could you possibly have to offer me? What could you tell me about this DVD that I don't already know? Well, I got news for you, Internet, and John, who's looking at me suspiciously. We have a breakdown of all the special features. Shit. That's
Now,
right.
see that? That's the kind of winning attitude that's going to take this enterprise straight to the top.
You are so on with the sound bites tonight.
Man,
I love it.
Killing it.
But yeah, so we're going to be giving some huge spoilers away as far as what you can expect on there, and if it's worth your money, your investment, and your time. So stick around for that.
So if you want to be surprised by the bonus features on this DVD, just shut your sound off on your computer and look at our beautiful faces
Yep.
while we discuss them.
That should be enough anyway.
Amen, brother.
Actually,
I think that's most of where our viewership comes from. Is people who just turn off the sound and say, wow, look at those handsome devils.
Talking about some show I don't want.
Go wash up, dirty bird.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't start this little podcast without bringing up this little number right here.
Oh my. Me and my. John, that's a handsome book you have in your hand there. What is that?
This lovely book I have in my hand is titled Maria Menounos' Every Girl's Guide to Life.
The Every Girl's Guide to Life.
The Every Girl's Guide to Life. Are you a girl?
I'm not.
But do you know people who are?
I've heard of these things that you speak of. They're called girls.
I've got my top man on it. Or possibly bottom.
Thank you.
Well, the implications of that I'm not sure I like, but yes.
If you know any girls and they happen to be alive, this book's for them. I'm sorry, I just heard our producer laughing in the back. I couldn't. Seriously, though, there's some really cool, useful stuff. And as Greg and I have alluded to many times, we use this book to get into the psychology of women and girls so that we may bed them.
Yes. It
has
how we
been
clean up.
alarmingly successful.
110% success rate. That's right. And that's not a made-up figure.
Where
Not
can
at
I
all.
get my copy?
Find booksellers anywhere.
And if they don't sell it,
They're not a fine bookseller.
burn it to the ground.
Burn it. Done. noting that.
All right. Enough talking about DVDs and books and whatever. You folks came here for some television.
That's right, you did.
Let's break it down. First and foremost, we have to talk about it. Cyril, no longer a desk jockey, working in the field.
Quite a field agent he is, too.
He wouldn't expect him to be quite as adept, but he really comes through and shines.
Well, let's keep in mind that he had one of the best teachers in season 1, episode 2.
Sterling Archer, which they allude to in this episode, and I'm very glad. They say the last time, I forget the exact wording, but they do reference the last time he was a field agent, they ended up with a dead hooker in the trunk. Not really. Well, almost.
Full disclosure, folks, I did not get to see the full episode this week because I have a job.
He's working like a schmuck.
Yeah, lame.
I know. However, the AV Club review of it, which came up in my Twitter feed, the title of the review had spoilers in it. The title of, or it was like the tweet that the review was linked to. It was Sterling, Lana, and Archer, Lana, and Cyril in the jungle. The best spy out of them will surprise you.
Spoiler alert before you say things like that.
Thanks, AV Club.
We already said there were going to be spoilers tonight. We're in the clear. We're good.
Legally, we are all right.
Yeah.
Read the Patriot Act.
So what I really liked about this is that, again, we go into it with Cyril is literally sort of the last resort. It's not that anyone wants him in the field. It's that Gillette has been so incapacitated by his various injuries that unless they need someone to go, and I quote, in disguise as a shopping cart, he is useless in the field. So I really liked how they led it into it. It seemed very natural and sort of a great progression. And you think that it's going to go one way very disastrously. He has his Teddy Roosevelt hiking gear on and just being a general stick in the mud in the jungle. But as it turns out, his
didn't take him long.
Doesn't take him long, and it's that same studious nature that they're making fun of him for that ends up saving him in the end. So it's really kind of a clever twist. Now, Justin, I don't know, what are your thoughts on actually seeing Cyril get out there and into the field, as opposed to, because we're so used to seeing him behind the desk and being sort of that straight guy, that for me at least, it was a little bit jarring to see him out and, at least to some degree, taking names and kicking the batoot.
Yes. Well put. I felt, exactly the same way. A little bit jarring. He didn't look right out there. He wasn't fitting in with the turtlenecks and the all black garb, and he didn't even have a weapon. So, I mean, the fact that he even could stay alive was, I think, a tremendous feat. Let alone save the day.
That's a pretty interesting gauge of success. It's like, listen, you don't have to do anything. Just don't die. And then you're fine. Which is an apt metaphor for life.
I agree. I agree.
Just don't die.
I mean, here's the thing.
And everyone loses.
One thing I do feel needs to be pointed out, there are moments when Cyril goes completely berserker on everyone. Like, it has been building up for a really long time. He has been the guy getting crapped on for his whole career. And then there are moments throughout the first 2 seasons where he, like, loses it.
He gets this sort of nerd rage where he becomes the hulkish, if you will. Which, not to skip too far ahead, but at the end of the episode where Cyril's just getting the pee-pee beaten out of him by this Colombian drug lord, as Lana watches and Archer pours liquor into his eyes. I was really expecting one of those moments. I was really surprised that Cyril didn't. Cool. That was, for me, that would have been the perfect, like, oh, look out, here comes Cyril. Now he's a badass agent taking names and punching out Colombian drug lords. But I'm also kind of glad that they didn't do that, because that's a really, really abrupt transition for one episode.
Yeah.
So at least my feeling was this is a cool place to leave off. We've seen a little bit of Cyril out in the field, maybe like a hint of things to come.
Yep, this could be.
But this isn't like a 180 in one episode for his character.
Right.
I don't know. I thought that was interesting because again, it'd be just way too jarring. At least in my Justin, what do you think?
Yeah.
Too jarring.
Well, I mean, like if he had done the nerd rage thing, I think that would have probably closed it out where that would be the last time you'd see him as a field agent, or maybe later again, like they had done this earlier in season 1. But yeah, it would just it's left open where he actually did a pretty good job. They might keep him around, or Gillette makes a miraculous recovery. You don't know.
Room for improvement.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually a really good point about how that would be like the perfect closer, the perfect button for this whole, okay, well, I'm going out of the field, but I'm going out my way. Although it probably more like, and I'm going out my way. My way.
That's actually
make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh, and then he dances off.
It's actually a pretty good impression.
That was a horrible impression.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I mean, you nailed the emotion of it.
Yeah, and it's the heart that counts. My vocal cords aren't as adept as Chris Parnell or Adam Reed or John Benjamin, anyone on the show, really, and that's my fault.
It is.
I mean, it's really it's God's fault.
Yeah.
Or evolution's fault if you're a heathen.
It doesn't matter because everybody loses.
We're all gonna die.
Yeah. If that's the one point that I can stress to everyone, that's the one thing that we can walk away from tonight's episode is that everyone dies, including adorable tigers in cages.
Yeah. Oh, that is correct.
So shocked, not to get like too off topic, but oh my God, they shot a tiger in the face.
I tried to forget that.
I
had successfully until you brought it back up.
Well, I'm sorry. I tried to block it out of my memory too, but
which, by the way, I loved how they kind of touched upon the whole animal cruelty by going off. There's the panda, the tiger, and I forget what other endangered animals there were.
There were some monkeys in there, I think.
I think some sloths.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not sure
what
if
it was.
they're three-toed or
I'm glad that you pay attention to these.
Were they the
details.
cute ones or were they the really ugly ones? The ugly ones are the two-toed ones, like with the pointy noses.
These were the cute ones.
Yeah, cuter.
Those are three-toed.
Okay. I do love that attention to detail, though. I'm like, I guess they were monkeys or something. they had a tail and arms, and they're like, sort of like us if we were smaller. But you're actually like, no, you get it right. That is a...
So Adam Reed's going back to cruelty to pandas again?
In regards to, refresh my memory on this reference.
Frisky Dingo.
Okay.
Xander Cruz went on gray market safaris where they hunted panda.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
correct.
Panda meat is delicious. Panda steaks. Man, oh, man. So to awkwardly transition into our next topic here.
So
we've
talking
talked
about panda steaks.
Yeah, we've talked about steaks of love, mind you. How's that, everyone?
I take it.
That was good?
Take
Okay.
it.
We've talked about Cyril enough. We got to talk a little bit about Lana and Archer. And sort of a little bit of a spark that we haven't seen in a long time. Mostly because we just haven't seen them working together in a super long time.
You're just doing this to spite me!
Not entirely. But
a little bit.
Yes.
Maybe.
There's a little bit of spite.
Because, I mean, the first episode we didn't see it at all. It's just Archer and Burt Reynolds cruising around, which is all well and fine, but it's important to remember that this was one of the key relationships that the show was built on. And we finally see them back in the field one-on-one, and a little bit of sexual tension there.
A little bit. Right
Not
in front
much.
of Cyril, too.
Mm-hmm.
That's lame.
Yeah, John, you're not privy to this, but as Archer and Lana are captured and in a cage together, and I think this is important to note, it's Lana who brings it up. She says, well, Archer, well, what? Well, what about how this is our last night together and we should have sex? And she's discussing it in a totally offhanded, flippant way, but there's something to be said about
Obviously, she brought it up for a reason.
if you're bringing it up, even if it's in that whatever way, it's
on your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but of course, to go back to tiger murder, Archer just isn't quite in the mood. He can't muster it. And who would be? I
thought about it myself. I was trying to put myself in that situation. I don't think I could do it.
John,
could not go through with it.
Could you perform sexually after witnessing a tiger get shot in the face?
I actually can only perform sexually.
There's not enough liquor and therapy in the world to undo that.
Here's my thing. I think under normal circumstances, I would not. Lana Kane, being the hot lady that she is, I mean, there's only a certain amount of sadness that comes from.
Right.
It's really a weight and balancing. You have to envisage it as like the scales of justice, okay? Where on one scale of like just is being sad for the tiger
murder of a
death.
tiger.
Yes. But the more hotness you add to the other side of that scale, you start to feel less bad about the tiger being shot in the face.
And there's others. I mean,
there are more
tigers.
There really aren't that many tigers.
It's fine.
That's kind of a thing. We're going to get all these calls like from the World Wildlife Foundation, the WWF, which sounds really cool until you realize it's people protecting
It's the
pandas.
panda WWF, not the wrestling WWF.
Not the hit 'em with a chair WWF.
Although maybe the pandas hit each other with chairs. I don't know. I'm not a panda.
I think it would help the Federation.
It would help explain their thinning numbers.
Yes. That and their non-functioning bear wieners.
Yeah, they have a real hard time with that.
That's sad.
Which is also sad.
Yeah.
It's a real downer of an episode, thinking about all these tigers getting murdered and pandas who
can't get boners anymore.
Yeah. To borrow a line from Fight Club, who won't, I'll use the gentler term, have sex to save their own species, as it were. Very sad. But again, something that, to go back to the Lana and Archer, which we've gotten way off topic, it left it off again where, of course, Lana hates Archer, and they end up using him as bait. So nothing too emotionally crippling there. Nothing to at least say, let's go back to season 2 when Archer has cancer and Lana is literally like stripping him in bed. And I can't believe I'm forgetting this. John, did they have relations that night? They did. Okay, so nothing to that extent.
No, where
we get to see that, but we do get to see John Benjamin in what, I don't know, I just imagine him actually saying this. And I hope he like never hears this and comes after me, because I can totally imagine John Benjamin being like, well, I could just watch you masturbate. I mean, like, just get started without me. Start. The sheer length of time that they devoted to that conversation is really unsettling.
Very, very unsettling.
It's so hard to hear that just interaction take place. It was awful. Oh, hold on, guys, I'm back. Check this out. Yeah, that's hot.
I'm going.
Me drinking water.
Man,
right into the microphone.
All I need is someone to come in and shoot a tiger.
John's set for
life.
He's
set.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys any stray observations about Lana and Archer in this episode?
The only thing, not necessarily on their relationship, just more, it didn't seem like it was really that Archer heavy. It was definitely more about Cyril, and it was a lot about our tertiary characters from ISIS, so like Pam.
Yeah. And something that we didn't really touch on, but also worth mentioning, at least in passing, Lana and Cyril having a little moment back there as well. Something that is funny, number one, but also they're stirring the pot for this episode.
Do not wind her up. That is a big gun, and she is baby crazy.
Maybe it is. Maybe she's running out of time and she needs to make a decision. Who will it be between the two people that she hates most? Which is really, again, to get back to life. That's what it's all about. Find the
It's
person,
the
that you
person-
hate the least.
Hate the least, yep. Oh, lesser of two
It's
evils.
the person who you hate a ton, but will put a good baby into you. You know?
No, I think it's a matter of like it's after a certain amount of time, you're just like, well, I'm not gonna do any better than you. Let's face it, you're not gonna do any better than me.
But Lana can do so much better.
Yeah, but I think that's the truth. That's most people kind of just, well, I'm not gonna do better than you.
And also think about the spy ability that a kid produced by Sterling Archer and Lana Kane would have.
He'd be a ninja.
He'd
You'd
be-
never find him.
You would it's like James Bond would have nothing on this motherfucker. Right? I'm right.
I mean, we already know the wee baby Seamus is going to
Right.
grow up to be Archer too. That'll be the offshoot when this show ends. This will be the Frasier.
Oh,
It is
the wee baby Jimmy.
Seamus.
As
Baby, I hear the blues are calling, the souls are trembling.
Is Archer gonna have a chair in wee baby Seamus's living room that he's gonna
Yeah.
hang out in?
He'll be old, be like, I used to be an agent once. And Seamus be like, quiet, Dad, and hit him over the head with a whiskey bottle.
I have not seen enough Frasier to make any more references.
Yeah.
I've seen so much Frasier. I mean, I think we've talked just about all weekend about Cyril, Lana, and Archer. Let's go into something that's really fun and something that I was super, super pumped to see, which was the B story running through this, or maybe even the C story. I wasn't paying close enough attention. But there's going to be a drug test in ISIS, so all the lower echelon people, Pam and now Gillette and Cheryl Carroll are going to have to pass a drug test. So Cyril or Krieger gives them a detoxifying tea, which I'm glad they chose that design because I've seen that tea sold in various capacities. So I'm super glad that they ripped off the design. A tea that he promises will cleanse them. Of course, for Krieger, this is actually just clinical trial number 13 of his new mind-altering drug, leading to a great twisted animation sequence in which Pam becomes this giant melting blob. Cheryl Carroll thinks that the floor is lava, and they do a great job animating it as such. And also her getting naked again, which
You can't put a price on good pussy.
yeah, it was if I was into pencil drawings, it'd be pretty all right. And my favorite though is Gillette as a weird wheelchair transformer in the eyes of Pam, who needs to be killed in Pam's eyes. So she rips a toilet out of the wall to crush him. Again, showing Pam's relative strength, which is really, really terrifying.
Yeah.
But I was really glad with the way that they handled this because I've seen like the drug trip episode done so many times. I mean, John, you can attest to the Simpsons episode where Homer
meets the coyote with Johnny Cash's voice.
Oh, that's actually a better reference than the one I was going for. I was going for the one where crows peck out his eyes, and so it takes medical marijuana,
right.
and they do the whole little like I can't see me, or whatever the song is as he's driving into the nuclear power plant. So I thought both of those are good examples of trippy animation, particularly the peyote episode where he
eats a pepper that's so hot that he trips balls.
Yeah, and that's animation that's weird, but also staying within the realm of like what is applicable to the show. I was telling Justin earlier, and I don't know if you've seen this episode. It's an episode of Family Guy recently where Brian takes mushrooms. Have you ever seen this?
No, I haven't.
Did you see this, John? It's cool, but it's kind of like, oh, they're doing it for the sake of doing this weird, trippy animation episode. And this was something that at least in this episode, I thought it fit well. It was jarring enough that it
was a trip.
And it gets a big laugh, but it wasn't, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't like super out of place, right?
No, not at all. It totally fit into their animation completely.
And it goes back to what we were talking about last week, where they're doing some things on the show now that I don't think they would have been able to get away with in season 1. And part of this is just, you know, you don't want to do they're on a drug trip so early into the season before you've had a chance to establish their voice and all that. But again, something that is kind of weird and out there that I don't think they would have, I don't know, I just don't think that viewers would have gone for it originally.
Earlier on, I don't think so at all. But yeah, I mean, now that everyone's character has progressed enough, it totally made complete sense.
So do you see it as like a continuation of what we were seeing in the first episode of the season?
Well, I mean, not really. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't surprise me because we already know that Krager's kind of like, he's a weirdo and he does these kind of like weird tests on people like he had in season. Actually, there was kind of a weird drug trip in season 1. With the
Danny, the intern. I totally forgot about Danny, the intern.
But it's the drug that makes him gay.
Yeah.
It's not a trip.
So it's a gay trip? It's a really gay trip.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Gay trip.
Gay
Also,
tripper.
speaking of gay trip, brings up my other favorite cutaway, which is Gillette in a wheelchair blowing on a whistle in a gay club and like doing the little
With a
rock
bunch
back
of
and forth.
large shirtless men in thongs.
Bears, as they're called.
Oh, yes.
As John can attest to.
Oh, I have heard that phrase before, that terminology.
John's a big old cuddly bear. I don't know. I don't mean to assign you with that label or anything.
I don't like labels like that. 1, because I don't have sex with men. Sorry, guys.
But 2.
And 2, because I don't like labels, man.
Okay, fair enough.
Free spirit.
But I don't know. I think it's worth bringing up into something that, man, oh man, I'm definitely going to get the DVD so I can watch this one again, if nothing else, so I can see Gillette as a giant transformer rising out of his wheelchair.
One other trip animation that I want to just bring up because I love it so much is Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Oh yeah, I remember that with the hallucination where they're in the desert.
Yeah,
and
they eat the
dehydrated.
cactus and they trip balls, and it's awesome.
Yeah, lots of good trip stuff in animation. I mean, that's kind of what it was designed for.
That's basically why you get into animation. You just like write a show and go, I hope they keep me on the air long enough so I can write a trip episode.
I gotta visualize this.
Did C-Lab ever do an episode where they all trip? I feel like they did.
That's a good question.
I feel like I have an idea that happened at some point.
They've done...
I mean, they were so bizarre from the get-go, that show. So,
yeah, they've done like a time-lapse episode that I thought was kind of like a trip.
Yeah,
where
they
like
keep
people
going back
started
in time.
multiplying on themselves, the different versions of themselves.
And they all
came
end up in the same little prison cell.
Yeah. But I don't think Adam Reed has done too many like trip episodes. It's not like this is his forte.
I'm sorry, your answer must be in the form of a question. But thank you for playing.
What is everything Greg just said?
I guess. Right on. All right, really quickly, because we got to talk about this DVD and the special features, which actually ties in a little bit to what we were discussing earlier. So, stray observations, Justin, anything that we didn't talk about that you just feel you need to get off your chest?
Oh, wow. Not really. I mean, this was overall a good episode, but truthfully, there weren't too many great lines other than the ones we'd already covered about that, and no real, I feel like we've covered the whole story pretty much.
Yeah, there weren't a whole lot of standout lines for me, and I'm sure that there are going to be people who disagree on this one. I'd like Pam covering up her coughing when she's smoking a blunt on the phone with Malory as like... beatbox transform.
That was a standout.
That's a ringtone if there ever was one.
They are so good at the ringtone stuff.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that, I'd have 8 nickels. Such a weird little throwaway line, but I liked it. Also, a Mist Krieger line is the most terrifying thing that could ever be uttered to me now in a darkened room is, begin clinical trial 14. As a gun is cocked.
That is a good line.
So I dig that. All right, so we have to run to a quick commercial break, but stick around because we are going to talk about these special features, and boy, oh boy, we got some spoilers for you.
Butts.
AfterBuzz TV. Hi, I was once like you, a lazy, angry loner whose only joy was watching TV and surfing the net. And, like you, after I'd see one of my favorite TV shows, I'd be so excited and have so many questions that I'd actually have to talk to my douchebag coworkers about it at the water cooler. Then I discovered AfterBuzzTV.com. AfterBuzz TV produces after-show webcasts and podcasts for TV series of all kinds, like post-game wrap-up shows for all your favorite TV shows. AfterBuzz TV hosts are industry insiders who break down episodes of shows, take calls from fans, and interview cast and crew from each series, with over 60 different after shows, from Boardwalk Empire to American Idol to Vampire Diaries to Real Housewives, and more. Now, after a night of TV, I can ignore my stupid coworkers, who I hate, and go straight to my desk and watch or listen to all my favorite AfterBuzz TV after shows, and have all the TV fan interaction I need. Thank you, AfterBuzz TV.
AfterBuzz TV. What do you want to buzz about?
And we're back.
That commercial is like the audio version of watching a tiger get shot in the face.
So it just really, really gets your motor running.
Really, really bad.
Head out on the highway, something, looking for adventure. I don't
Whatever goes my way.
know. There we go. That's what we were looking for. So, as promised, maybe old, but it's new to you. It's the Season 2 DVD, also available on Blu-ray, but who has that technology? So I bought the DVD because I'm a poor person.
Speaking of which, I love how Greg came in here and he's like, my computer's not working to play the DVD. And I'm like, okay, you know we have DVD players here and we can watch it on that.
I'm just like, what? In the AfterBuzz studio where you have all these cameras and TVs and microphones? I would never have expected it.
The advanced technology of the digital video player.
I sense that's not sincere, although I have no idea why.
Yeah, I'm an idiot who can't comprehend the value of things. But but actually, this isn't too old. This just got released about a month ago, a few weeks before the premiere, and it kind of came out quietly under the radar.
Yeah, they didn't do a lot for it.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised, which when you get into the special features, I'm really surprised they didn't promote more of it, because I have the Season 1 DVD, and John, if I'm not mistaken,
I do not.
You do not, but
I've seen it.
I told you about all the extra features, and you came over, and we got a pizza, and we watched it, and it was lovely broing out.
Yeah, we broed out.
Mm-hmm. But on the Season 1 DVD, there's nothing really of note, I thought. There are a couple of, like, deleted scenes here and there.
Your standard DVD extras.
Standard DVD extras. Was there audio commentary on, like, 2 episodes?
I think so.
Again, nothing that really stood out, except for this one thing. Which
the original unaired pilot.
The original unaired pilot, which they marketed it as such. They had a little sticker on it. It said...
And they mentioned it on the commercials.
Yeah, with an original unaired pilot. And so all these people went out and bought the DVD, and they're, again, spoiler alert, people, when you watch this unaired pilot, it is...
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily...
That doesn't count. That's what you're looking for.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I made a boo-boo.
Thank
you. It's your one mistake.
Yeah. And if it happens again, I don't know, guns, probably. Yeah, that motion.
2 strikes and you're out.
Unnecessary roughness.
All right. We'll back off. Point being, this unaired pilot is literally the original pilot, but in every frame that Sterling Archer is supposed to appear, it is replaced with a velociraptor. And every line of dialogue that Archer is supposed to speak is replaced with the sound a velociraptor makes in various incarnations, which is roar and grrr.
You know, like a velociraptor.
Right,
Everyone
totally.
knows.
So while I found this to be hilarious, and John found this to be hilarious,
I did.
I'd imagine it would anger a tremendous amount of people who bought the DVD hoping for original content. And with this DVD, it seems like they sort of learned their lesson because it's pretty much everything on there is all new. It's all animated, new voices. There's no like recycled material. No, it didn't seem like they were stretching anything out to make it seem like it was more than it was. They address the dinosaur issue, I guess if that's what you want to call it, of the first DVD, where they have Archosaurus self-extinction, which is kind of a behind the music for this dinosaur character and his rise and fall. My favorite joke of which is when the dinosaur resorts to commercials and he does a whiskey malt blend, whiskey malt cooler commercial, which just for the invention of that drink alone is hilarious. But Justin, you actually never saw the original Archosaurus episode, but you did see this special feature. So your thoughts on it?
I loved it. Yeah, with the commercial reference and his musical, him doing a blues album, just all referencing Bruce Willis and his mid '80s. Oh god, that's such a terrible album.
And you told me you actually own this album.
I do. I found it at Amoeba, and I was gonna give it as a gift, and then I just couldn't send it. I had it in the envelope, and I was just like, no.
All of you, completely pathetic.
You know that there's like a YouTube skit where they have the hipster Olympics, and one of the events is trying to find that album on vinyl.
Dang it.
But so yeah, it's obviously very funny. It's all new material, new voices, you know, and it's about 5 minutes long. And that's just the first thing that's on here. The next thing that they go into, and I don't mean to sound like I'm really like pushing the DVD here, but I genuinely enjoyed it. The second thing that they have on here is actually something that they mentioned, and we mentioned back on the show that they were doing. They did a section called Ask Archer, where fans could write in their questions to this blog or what have you, and then they would take John Benjamin, he would give answers, and they would animate around it. And the questions they choose are very like, what kind of sandwich would you want named after you? Like, you know, that sort of thing. But the best way I can describe it is horrible questions with hilarious answers. They really do a good job with it, and it's very funny, all fresh, with the notable exception of they actually recycle one of the Twitter feeds that we use, because he mentions when women pass gas, they should do so through a dryer sheet. So I was surprised that they included that in there. And they also have a plug for the book, which is kind of weird and stands out a little bit, but it's cool. The other thing that they have on here is a segment called Semper Fi, which is, I'm amazed that they actually put this on a DVD that went into like mass production, not because it's offensive or anything, but apparently someone wrote in and was like, hey, my buddy is serving over in Afghanistan. Can you have Archer give a shout out? And they give like a 3-minute long sort of diatribe thing where it's Gillette is holding the camera while Archer is supposed to be reading a very simple script. It's like, hey, good luck in Afghanistan, make it home, buddy, you know, that sort of thing. And it becomes this very, that came out horrible. Archer doesn't do much better, is the point, which makes it all the more hilarious. So I was glad to see that. And then, John, you absolutely have to watch the next feature because it's something that we've talked about on the show, which is that John Benjamin, kind of a schlubby guy, and yet the voice and the character art, they make him look a lot, let's go ahead and say, better.
I don't think that's a stretch.
I like to say that he looks somewhere between Archer and Bob from Bob's Burgers. He's
that
somewhere
is.
right
Yeah, he
there.
definitely splits the difference between the two.
Well, in this short, which again, all of these are about like 5 minutes long, they're legitimate pieces. Archer is involved in an explosion in which his features are altered so that he looks exactly like John Benjamin. And it's a 5-minute long piece just about how horrible his life would be if he looked like John Benjamin. Which is like the saddest thing you could ever do to your primary voice actor.
But it must be a comment they get all the time, because that was like a big thing at the screening we went to, where it's like, you know, like all the characters look like the people playing them except
John Benjamin.
Right.
Yeah. This is just how horrible his life would be. And it seems so hurtful. Like, I don't know. I would be really offended. I can't believe that John Benjamin was okay with doing it, because someone's like, listen, we want to do an entire segment about just how awful looking you are and how no one would ever want to sleep with you and how you're so weak and feeble that shooting a gun will send you flying across the room. I don't think I would sign on to that.
I don't know.
Well, this is also the guy who, in his own show, when he takes off his shirt, says, "I'm sorry, I've let myself go."
Oh, yeah. Another, I guess John Benjamin is just really okay with his body image or lack thereof. So, I mean, that about wraps it up. There's also a ISIS Infiltrates Comic-Con segment, which we touched a little bit about what they said at Comic-Con last season when we were doing the podcast. And here they do a nice wrap-up, and it's edited together nice and with fancy little labels at the bottom and everything. It's nothing terribly, like, special, but I was a little surprised that they didn't include any commentary. Which is kind of like, I mean, at least when I sit down and watch a DVD, I expect there to be something, some sort of commentary. I don't know. What do you guys think on that?
I mean, I'm always interested in the sort of insight you can get when you listen to the commentary. This show seems like it's less of a, or especially with season 2, was less of a process than say The Simpsons is, where it's like you know, like funny little things about the writers' room are going to come into it,
right?
Because there wasn't there until I don't know, I'm not even sure if there is a writers' room now, but until this season, all the episodes were written by Adam Reed himself.
Yeah. So
that's, I mean, I would still be interested in hearing what he had to say on them, and I'm bummed that they don't have it, but
yeah. But I mean, at least for me, then that's the only thing that I can really fault it on is it's kind of a bummer that there aren't any commentaries, but it is nice to see a DVD that actually works to create something new for their special content, not just like, oh, here's a 3-second clip that was a deleted scene, and we're going to market it as such. So, I don't know. I thought it was definitely worth it. If you're going to be picking up the season, I don't want to, dismay you from choosing iTunes or whatever, but the DVD has some pretty nice perks that are pretty funny.
Word up.
Yeah.
And I can predict all of you going out to buy this DVD, which must mean
Theremin time.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
And why are there donuts everywhere?
Lana did that.
Do you want ants? Because that's how you get ants.
I predict ants.
I also predict ants.
Justin, your thoughts? Ants, quickly.
No ants. No ants.
Okay, let's talk
no ants. Choosing the dark horse of no ants.
No ants is the Rick Santorum of that.
Oh, aren't we witty and current? So yeah, I think that we're going to see a little bit more of Cyril out in the field.
I hope so.
And this certainly does support the theory that was raised last week that Gillette is going to be passing because he's literally even more broken down. He's being slowly and steadily erased.
It's terrible.
Yes.
I'm sad.
A little bit, yeah. It's a shame. What do you guys think of what we were talking about earlier? Lana, Archer, Cyril, love triangle, or less hatred triangle? Anything more coming from that?
You know, I don't think Lana and Archer will ever fully say no to each other. There's something about being out in the field, maybe. I don't know.
I also
and with Cyril, I mean, the more that he looked pretty good at the end of this episode. I mean, he saved the day. I could see her getting, you know, back.
Hot in the pants for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen this episode, but I would say as Cyril becomes more like Archer, he probably becomes less desirable to Lana, and why not just go with Archer?
The yin for the yang.
That makes some sense.
Interesting.
Also, I predict. This just popped into my head. I think that this show is just on the level where they would kill off Ray and then bring someone exactly like him. like in Beer Fest.
Oh yeah. It'll be like he never left. Yeah. I can see that coming too.
I wouldn't put it past them,
Right.
and I wouldn't be upset if they did it because I know they do it in the right way.
Maybe hire one of the guys from Miami.
Oh my God! Yeah, get Thomas Lennon back on.
There we go.
That'd be bring Thomas Lennon back.
That's our final prediction.
That's right. So guys, good show.
I think I had a good time. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed watching the special features.
I had a good time listening to you guys talk about this episode.
Hopefully you all out in internet land did as well.
Yes.
So
catch us
John.
next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
And tell your friends, right, Sean?
And tell your friends about us. Oh, also you can find me on the Twitters at @JDuganBarrett, on the Tumblrs, Bot Mary Kill.
Very good blog. Bot Mary Kill. Check it out.
Anyone else? Plugs?
I am on the Twitter, Justin P. McGee.
My Twitter account is dead and rightfully so.
Is it really? Because I tweeted at a guy named Greg Goodness.
No, that's not an account that exists.
Oh, all right. Well,
that also was never Greg Goodness's Twitter name.
Yeah,
that's
take that.
You have a new friend.
So, peace out, listeners. Next week, same bat time, same bat channel.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Just thanks a lot, bitch and Sundance.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.